Hi, Grace.
Hi.
Hi, Aubrey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for arranging everything.
That was Megan.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Thank you, Megan. Hello.
Well, hello there.
How are you?
We are great. Aubrey, Grace, how are you?
Good.
How did your meetings go yesterday?
Good. They went very well, actually, very well. Yeah, lots of support. We got pretty much support from almost everybody we met with. And hopefully, yeah, at least on the spot. So that's good. So, and hopefully the rest will come as it, as they go back.
So these were basically the directives for the Congress folks, not necessarily the Congress folks themselves.
Yeah. So in these, like some of them, like Representative or Congressman Gottheimer, he was there. The rest we met with were staff. Sometimes the Congress, people or the senators, they'll pop in, but yesterday it was pretty much just staff, with the exception of Congressman Gottheimer. But we had a list for them, a list of what they needed to do for
That's great. We're going to talk about that. Before I can see Megan when her cheeks get a little red and she starts smiling. That means, Mr. Mayor, you need to open the meeting.
Cute.
Because we are public already, right?
Yes, we are.
All right. So if I could, I'd like to call the meeting.
Statement.
Yeah, first you read the statement first. Okay, Megan, would you please read the statement of the presiding officer?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, I have quit notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call and information were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda. When the mayor opens up public comment portion, if you're using a computer and would like to add public comment, please raise your hand. To raise your hand, click the participants button on the bar located at the bottom of your screen. Once the bar pops up, scroll to the right and there will be an option to raise your hand. If you're dialing in and would like to make a public comment, press *9 when the mayor opens up public comment.
Thank you, Megan. Would everybody please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so Megan, would you be kind enough to take roll?
Committeeman Dorsey,
Here. Hello, Grace. I haven't seen you in a while.
Committeeman Lavender,
Present.
Committeeman Verleza,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Wright, Mayor Pasurcia.
Present. Should we give Deputy Mayor Ray a second? There's no reason why he's not on, right?
I mean, he said he was coming to the meeting.
So Vic, why don't you tell the public a joke?
Megan, can you resend the invitation to him?
I can send him what I got, because it would come through the system. So he'll most likely come on as Megan Phillips.
It's all right. I'll change his name when he comes out.
Okay. There he is.
Okay.
All right, okay. So tonight we are honored to have Miss Grace Eileen and her mom. By the way, I say it correctly. Is it Eileen?
Don't worry, you want to say it?
Sure, it's Eline.
Well, and I blame Matt. Matt told me.
It's all
All
good,
right.
don't worry.
I always said it's Eline.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So
It's
now
all
I'm
good,
not
don't
going to
worry.
forget that. I do apologize. So
Sure.
we are honored tonight to have Grace with us because she has led the fight for pediatric cancer research for which she has been honored by a number of folks in the past. We have a proclamation here from the Morris County, at that time, freeholders. I guess now they are the Morris County commissioners. We have a joint legislative resolution, which is signed by Senate President Stephen Sweeney and Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin, which was written and put to the state legislature by Senator Kane, Assemblyman Bramnick, and Assemblywoman Munoz. Now, Grace, you and Aubrey have met with a lot of these folks, so much so that just last week, and Brendan, you were on the call, Nancy, you were on the call, we were having a Morris County League of Municipalities meeting, and Senator Bucco, who I know you've spoken with many times, Senator Bucco, for those who don't know, he's very open about it. In fact, had childhood cancer himself. So he's, he's in the fight with you. And I'm sure he's working behind the scenes with his colleagues down in Trenton. But let's get to the moment tonight. And if you want to describe what you've done regarding May being declared, well, why don't we let you? We have the proclamation in this frame, but if I could turn the mic over to you, Grace, and you can explain what it is we're doing, and then I'll read the proclamation.
Sure. So a thing that we're doing here tonight is declaring May as Brain Tumor Awareness Month, which is so exciting for me. And I know it is so exciting for all the other warriors and families and survivors out there. So from a childhood cancer perspective, childhood cancer is the #1 death by disease for children in this country. And of that, brain tumors are the most deadly. So having this awareness is so important, and being here to sort of represent that is such an honor, and it means so much to me, and being able to represent the cause here means a lot to me. And thank you so much for doing this and for having me here. It's truly such a blessing and an honor, and I'm so grateful for this.
Well, it's us that should be thanking you. And I think somebody was going to say something. I don't want to cut you off. But, and I will add, I was a little remiss. Speaking of childhood cancer awareness, last September, you were able to work with the state legislature, I believe, and at the state level, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month was in September of last year. And because of you, there were dozens and dozens and dozens of municipalities throughout the state of New Jersey who wrote resolutions for their municipality, including obviously Long Hill. And for those who are not familiar, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was in January of 2020, you were an honored guest at then President Trump's State of the Union.
Yep. 2019.
It was
2019. Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know. We all watched it. We were all proud of you, and proud that Long Hill Township was mentioned. And there's, it was easily the longest ovation of the evening, and you handled it with grace. So your mom and dad named you appropriately.
Thank you.
So at that point, so what I'll do is I'll read the proclamation, and Megan, what are we doing with all we've got proclamations all over the place here. Are we going to do that in May? When are we doing this? The
May
actual
14th
presentation?
is the Girl Scouts Go Gray in May event that you will be giving Grace and the Girl Scouts those proclamations in addition to the one that you're doing tonight.
Right. So what we'll do, Grace, is I'm going to read the proclamation, and then if you could briefly explain what is happening in at that May date as well, because I think the Girl Scouts deserve a shout out, and it's better coming from you than from me. All right. So the proclamation: whereas an estimated 700,000 people in the United States are living with a primary brain tumor, and approximately 85,000 more will be diagnosed in 2021. Whereas brain tumors can be deadly, significantly impact quality of life, and change everything for a patient and their loved ones. Whereas brain tumors do not discriminate, inflicting men, women, and children of all races and ethnicities. Whereas brain tumors are the most common solid tumor in children ages 0 through 14, and whereas hundreds of nonprofit organizations at the local and national level, including the American Childhood Cancer Organization and With Grace initiative, which Grace can explain as well, are helping children with cancer and their families cope through educational, emotional, and financial support. Whereas researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently, dedicating their expertise to treat and cure brain tumors. And whereas too many are affected by this deadly disease, and more must be done to raise awareness and find a cure. Now, therefore, I, Guy Pacercia, Mayor of Long Hill Township, do hereby proclaim May 2021 Brain Tumor Awareness Month in Long Hill Township, New Jersey. And so, Grace, I know you are tireless in this effort, you and your family and your mom especially. So if I could once again turn the mic over to you just to explain what's happening in May with the Girl Scouts.
Sure. So we'll be doing a little bit with the Girl Scouts. So we will be decorating luminaries for May as Brain Tumor Awareness Month with gray, because that is the Brain Tumor Awareness ribbon. And then there will be a walk for awareness purposes. And we'll also be sharing facts about brain tumors in specific in children, and a little bit about childhood cancer in general. And the whole main point of this is to bring awareness for the cause, because it's much needed.
Yep, the Girl Scouts will be decorating luminaries, I think, next week, and then placing them around town hall and the library to bring awareness. So we're very honored that they took the initiative to do that for May and for the cause.
And I would point out, speaking of Grace, behaving with Grace, and obviously Aubrey, what I did not mention to you that I was going to ask you to speak this evening, and that was my omission, but you handled it as if you were prepared anyway. So I thank you. God bless you. We love you. Thanks for representing Long Hill Township the way you do. And we're in this fight with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It means so much to us to have the support of, all of you, plus the community. I mean, even when Grace was diagnosed, when we went through it, we had, I think, the best town in the state or the country behind us. And it made all the difference in terms of us, Grace fighting the fight. And to continue to have that support of the community means so much. So we're very, very thankful. And also, I mean, getting the state proclamation and all the things we've been able to do, even from other towns and stuff, it's been because of the hard work of you guys. So thank you very much for that. Brendan, Guy, everything. You guys have been very helpful, helping us spread awareness. So we're very thankful for that.
Well, once again, it's because of you, but anything we can do to help, we will do.
No, we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're honored by this proclamation. So thank you.
Okay, thanks. So I must say, I think somehow I lost. Am I still on camera? You guys can hear me?
No.
It's okay though. It's fine.
Yeah, see, that's why Brendan. Yeah, and for the record, everybody will tell you that when you weren't able to join on time like everyone else was, I said, no, we will wait for Brendan to join. And
I'm sure.
And my thanks for that is what you just said. Okay, look, well, do me a favor. I'm going to try to sign back in.
We're going to log off. Grace is going to go and do some homework. So, because she's a little behind because she was out yesterday. So,
Well,
thank you guys again.
Say hi to the Admiral.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Guy, we still can't see you.
You're on mute though, Guy.
There we go. Okay. We are on ordinance 47121. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Second reading, this is a salary and wage ordinance. First, before we open it up to the public, I will open it to the committee for questions, comments, etc. Hearing none, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public for this ordinance only. At the end of the evening meeting, we will have public comment and questions on any topic, but at the moment, 472-21. And that is the salary and wage ordinance for those that are following at home. Megan, you see anybody?
I don't, Mayor.
Could I kindly have a motion to adopt 472-21?
So moved.
Second.
Megan?
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Paserchio.
Yes. And so this is ordinance 472-21. It's second reading. It is for adoption. So we're going to open it up to the public after, but I'll read what it is. It's prohibiting the operation of any class of cannabis businesses within the geographical boundaries of the Township of Long Hill and supplementing and amending Chapter 3 entitled Police Regulations and Chapter LU entitled Zoning of the Township Code. So briefly, I'll explain it, and then Jack, maybe you can fix or correct anything I say that's incorrect. So cultivation, sale, and manufacture, those are the three areas that we are prohibiting. For the public to understand, by prohibiting, we can opt in at any time in the future, I guess, within that 5-year period. If we opt in, we must opt in to all three of those for that 5-year period. So Jack, I want to make sure that I've correctly stated that.
So far, so good.
All right. So I'm going to quit while I'm ahead and turn it over to the committee for any comments and questions.
I do have one point to make, Mayor, is that if you didn't opt out and anyone started a business during that time period, they would be grandfathered if you tried to opt out later.
Right. And I think it's important for the public to understand municipalities, Long Hill included, do not have the authority to prohibit its use or to order by mail or however you can access it legally. So the use of marijuana is not being prohibited, and in large part because we don't have the authority to do so.
That's right. Nor is the delivery, as you pointed out. And just one last point, the ordinance has two prongs. One is it's a police regulation, and secondly, it's a zoning regulation prohibiting those uses in any zone district in the township.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, so why don't we start, Vic? We'll start with you.
I don't know. I think I'm good with what you guys are saying, with what Mr. Pigeon is suggesting. The ordinance as it is.
Scott?
I like the ordinance.
Okay. Matt?
I defer to legal counsel.
Never had such deference before.
There you go. Nobody ever extends me the
Well,
courtesy,
wait a
so
minute,
it's going to
there's
come
four-
back around
there's
sooner or
4
later.
attorneys on this call.
So the township legal counsel, how's that?
All right, you should know better, Matt. You have to be clear and exact.
I live in the
Speaking of-
gray.
Speaking of attorneys, Mr. Ray, Deputy Mayor Ray.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with the ordinance, although if we were to, by the looks of the headlines that I've seen with the towns surrounding us, we would be, if we didn't have this ordinance, we would be the place.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on.
Why not?
I'm going backwards here. Brendan, finish what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying if we didn't have it, that's the one thing for businesses concerned. We would have a very busy town by the looks of all the other towns around us who are joining us in the prohibition.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any town that has opted in, to tell you the truth. I'm not saying there aren't, but I'm not aware of any.
Asbury Park and Jersey City, definitely. They're average.
So Matt, you wanted the
Yes,
mic on.
I'm voting against the ordinance. Like I say, it's a free market. If people want to come in and sell it, they got to buy it somewhere. So you're going to attract a lot of people from town with a lot of money. Just look at all the surrounding towns. There's people with a lot of money that are going to come to our town. Like I said, they're going to buy their eighth of weed and then go to TJ Maxx. They're going to go to the towns. They might go to Marcy's. Who knows? So I have no problem with it.
Maybe all our restaurants in the one night.
Munchie time, baby.
All right, on that note, why don't we open the meeting to the public for this ordinance only 472-21, and that is the adoption of what we just described. So Megan, I'm going to turn it over to you and let me know if you have anybody.
I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Well, in that, I would then ask politely for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Megan?
Committeeman Dorsey,
No.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Pasurcia.
Yes. Okay, item number 6 on your agenda, consent agenda resolutions. Are, I guess, resolutions numbers 21-115 through 21-120. I asked the committee if you have any questions, comments. Does anybody have to recuse themselves? Hearing none, I will look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey,
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Pasurcia.
Yes. So liaison reports. Let's start with the Marsha Brady seat. Scott.
Okay. So rec update. Summer camp in the Recreation Department. Registration's opening tomorrow, April 29th at 5 p.m. State guidelines were announced today, and we'll have some clarity on those on the website. Gentle yoga began in the park this Tuesday. There's still spots available if anybody wants to sign up. Those classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. at Cantor Park on the turf field. More virtual babysitting classes, grades 6 through 12, Saturdays on May 8th and June 5th. And we still have spots available in those. Take a look. There is a press release that went to the papers about Memorial Day. We know that the plans are going to adjust as we get closer because we need to stay consistent with Governor Murphy's executive orders. Right now, at this point in time, we're planning for a vehicle-only parade followed by a memorial observation on the front lawn of Central School on Monday, May 31st. Just a reminder to register for Community Pass for your Sterling Lake memberships. That's spinning up. And big news, the summer concert series was announced. All that information's on the website. There's 7 band schedules. There's more waiting in the wings. We're looking for sponsors. If anyone out there is interested in sponsoring one or more of these contacts, please contact Lisa Scanlon at the rec department. And that's what we have right now. That's what's going on in Long Hill for recreation.
Thank you, Scott. Matt?
Yeah, first, a quick thing. We had a beautification committee meeting last week, and the public has been great sending in suggestions and ideas. So please keep them coming. I believe there's a link on the website for the beautification committee. So if you have any suggestions, ideas, please send them in. We do review them. They're sent to all of us, and there are some good suggestions in there. And a lot of them are same common suggestions. So there are some issues in town. Next, we actually spoke about a community garden. It's in preliminary stages, but I think it's very well received. And just from talking to people around town, I know the mayor received an email about it coincidentally this week. Just want to let people know that the discussions have started for a community garden. So those of you interested, it's in the works, or hopefully we can get it in the works. DPW, if you want your mulch delivered, please contact the DPW. I believe they deliver on Fridays, and it's $100 delivery charge. I was actually down there today, and there were 3 different cars of people getting mulch on their own. So if you want to take your own car down there, get as much as you want, as long as the DPW is open. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Vic.
All right. The police liaison report is as follows. Self-initiated activities and calls for service year to date, 6,760. Motor vehicle stops year to date, 452. Actual subjects, adult and juveniles arrested, 11, and major incidents here in town, 0. On community policing, the annual trout fishing derby on Saturday, April 17th was extremely successful with a great turnout by residents and an excellent engagement between the community and our officers. Special requests. There has been a significant increase in traffic complaints, specifically on Chestnut Street, Long Hill Road, River Road, Division Avenue, Northfield Road, Carlton Road, and Skyline Drive. Officers have been directed to strictly enforce motor vehicle laws and take appropriate action. Please slow down and be cognizant of pedestrian traffic. Also, please be advised that bail scams and the like have caused some members of our senior population to become victims. Under no circumstances will there be a legitimate request to pay bail, taxes, or warrants with a gift card or a phone app such as Venmo or Zelle. Please immediately contact the Long Hill Police Department if you are contacted on the phone by one of these scams. Time is on your side, and don't run out. What does it say here? And don't run out like your bank account. Don't run out and use your bank account and fall victim to these scams. And that will conclude my police liaison report, which I was quite proud of until I bungled the last sentence.
We'll ignore the last sentence. Well done, Vic.
Thank you.
All right, Brendan.
No reports.
Oh, okay. So, and I don't have anything specific until we get to the announcements. So Nancy, can I turn the meeting over to you?
Yes, I just have one quick thing in my report. The long-awaited new and improved Long Hill TV equipment is being installed this week, and viewers should see the exciting new broadcasts very soon.
That
So
is
stay tuned.
great news. That thanks to the Communications Advisory Committee, who have worked a number of years on this. So
Yeah.
I think, and Long Hill, thanks to people, committee members and volunteers before anybody that's on this call, Long Hill Township, Jack, you may remember, I think we started broadcasting Township Committee meetings, Planning Board meetings, and Zoning Board meetings in 06, 07, somewhere in there. And Long Hill Township has received awards in the past for this. Again, thanks to previous committee members and volunteers for what they did, and for the current volunteers for what they do. So they deserve a shout out there.
And Mayor, if you don't mind, I just, as you're talking about that, I think, Dennis Sandow in particular for really being the person behind the camera for all those years deserves a special commendation.
Yeah, no question. So Dennis, if you're listening and watching, on behalf of the Township Committee and the entire town, thank you. So I guess now we're going to speak about community gardens. Matt, if I can impose upon you, maybe I know you referenced it, but just to kick off the discussion here.
Well, we had preliminary discussions about it. Somebody must have brought it up in one of the emails we got from the Community Beautification Committee. And we're kicking around some ideas like places to put it and logistics, but at least preliminarily, we're thinking about the area behind Town Hall, basically directly behind the library if you're walking straight back to the river. I mean, there is a lot of property back there. And we still have to, as I said, it's in the preliminary stages, but I think it'd be well received. And the other thing is you have to put a high fence up because the deer, the rabbits and everybody else is going to be like a buffet. So especially coming up from the river. Other than that, if there were other parcels of land in town we could use, we would consider them. But as if we had to do it today, that'd be the obvious spot. But it's definitely something we're talking about. And I think we're going to continue the discussions at the next meeting next month.
Thank you, Matt. I guess, you know, from the other committee members and I don't know. I mean, I think it's a wonderful idea. I've thought it is a wonderful idea for years. We talked about it, you know, in various other sites, the town property that's owned on Laura Drive. We talked about it for the property across the street, which the town owns now, of course, which is the old Kerrs property. We talked about it on several other sites. So it seems to me the challenge is the location, not the enthusiasm for it. But I don't want to speak for the rest. So Scott, I don't know what you might want to say.
No, but I think the public would like a little bit more information on what the vision for it would be. Community gardens, can you elaborate on that a bit more?
From our preliminary discussions, I think it would basically be like a large garden area. And for example, say Lavenders want to have a plot. You get a, whatever, say it was an 8x8 spot, and you can plant any legal herbs you want. But
so you have to do that over by Wagner Farms, I guess, right?
yeah, something similar to that, where you'd have a plot and your family could come, or you or people can come in there and plant crops, and they can basically farm their own little plot of land for themselves.
Mayor?
Yes.
Before everybody else gives their input, do you mind if I just share my screen really quick? Because
Oh, sure, please.
one of the things we talked about, as Matt said, was the location behind Town Hall, you know, behind the library. So this, can you see it?
Yes.
So the town hall will be up there, the library. This is where you preliminary looked at for a dog park. So I spoke to the engineer, and these little boxes that you see, they all represent planting beds, and they would there would be enough room there for 46 planting beds. Each would be 5 feet by 14 feet, and all that would be required from the town to set it up is we would have to extend the water pipe from the building, you know, under the parking lot to put water within the area, and very high fencing that goes, you know, pretty far underground and pretty far you know, above ground as well. So those are the initial costs, and then people rent them out. And they would have access to the area. But, you know, I did check with the engineer, and he did measure the area that we would have used for the dog park and said we could fit 46 of these in here. So I just want to share that with you before you continue your conversation.
Is 5 by 14 a magic number? Is that what is recommended for size?
So we actually base this off of one that is currently being planned in Randolph. And
Gotcha.
I took this from their plans, 5 by 14, because I think that's kind of a standard size.
Thank you, Nancy. And Matt, you had referenced, or maybe Scott did, Wagner Farms. So I think a lot of people in town know that. There are several. There are at least 2 or 3 in Morristown. There's one across from Villa Walsh as you go towards, and it escapes me the name of the road. But these have become quite popular. Anyway, Scott, I don't know if we cut you off, or Brendan and Vic.
I'd be interested. So how would we control access to it? Because I know there's been some vandalism over there.
So the way I was thinking that we would control access would be similar to the key fobs that we have at Town Hall. When you lease your bed, you get a key fob and you have access into the gate. I think tonight the beautification committee just wanted to get your input on if you thought that was a good location, and then we could research it further.
Yeah, conceptually, it sounds interesting.
I'm under the impression also that they're very popular in other towns. I have friends in Montville who love it. They have one there, I believe. I I would just want to make sure though that, and listen, the beautification committee, it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be great. It's going to look good. We want to make sure that the fencing is sightly, around the garden, and it looks good. And I believe it will. I'm not sure though if that area, how's the ground? Is it a little wet there? A little too wet for planting vegetables, or is it good there? It gets wet further back.
It's wet in the back, but they're usually, they're raised beds. So there's,
Yes.
right. So it's like a wooden, also so people don't have to bend over. It's easier on their backs. So so they raise them up, I don't know, 3 feet off the ground, and then they fill them with dirt.
I didn't know they were that high. I thought they were only like the standard, 8 inches or 12 inches, you know what I mean? And you kind of use the dirt on the ground in addition to the box. No, I think it's a great idea. And hopefully, people will use them.
I think they will. And I'm hoping that once you guys give your preliminary okay and we give some more, get some more information about it, we'll put something out, to the public on that beautification page, and people can comment on whether they think they'd be interested in it.
I would also recommend, and again, I think Committeeman Lavender commented on some vandalism in that area at times. I think that, the proper lighting and a video proper video surveillance of that spot would be crucial, because after somebody lovingly gardens, all the way through June, July, and then to have somebody come and, ruin their tomatoes or their vegetables would be tragic. So I think that's something that really needs to be taken seriously.
Thank you, Vic. Brendan?
Protector of our tomatoes.
I'm for the idea. Conceptually, it sounds like a great thing. I know my two of my kids used to have a plot in the Freelington Arboretum in Morristown area, and they to this day it stimulated a love of gardening, and so I think it's a great idea.
All right, so I guess Nancy, what should happen at this point? Or Matt, I guess you're the liaison to the beautification. So you go back to
Nancy has more clout than I do, and she was on the meeting too. So
no, but I mean, I think the key takeaway here is the committee is fully supportive of a community garden. It appears the site behind Town Hall may be a suitable site, but we would like to consider other sites perhaps as well. Or maybe it's just good. Let's get this going. So Nancy, what do you think? What do you need from us now to convey to the beautification committee?
No, I think if you all agree that we should pursue it there. I mean, the reason it was suggested, it has parking, right? And access, we'd be able to, in a lot of places like Laura Drive, where would we get the water? Where, the parking would be an issue. The park across the street, would take a lot longer. There's no parking at the time. So if we want to get it done quickly, and we wanted to get it done probably cheaper than most other places, I think that that's the best area. The land is there. And so I guess what we would just need in order to take it to the next step would be, your go ahead.
can we send our grant writer, see if there's any grants available for this kind of stuff?
It's a good idea. I'll ask him.
I think,
Right, so
I think the site's got some synergy there, Guy. I like the idea. I mean, you could also have, horticulturists come into the library and give talks.
Exactly.
Far away, right? There's some good buzz over there.
Yep, that's great. And so Brendan, I know you supportive Vic. You've disappeared. Hopefully you didn't fall off your chair, but I think you're supportive as well. So Nancy, I think. So Nancy, I think it's a full speed ahead.
Okay.
If you can mention that too, and thanks to former committeeman Mead Briggs, who now chairs the beautification committee, for bringing this to us.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
So now we get to move on to older new business.
Yeah, I'd like to bring something up. So, now that the communication committee has, got, some wind under their sails with the new video in town hall, one of the next projects that they're looking at is revamping our website. And, our website's been around a long time. And in fact, I don't know, maybe like 17 years. And, that's another one of Dennis Sandow's accomplishments. I think that was an award-winning website back in 2003, 2004, I think. It's really served us well over the years. But, technology moves forward. We have a younger generation that's used to different aspects of social media and how they interact on mobile phones and the like. And I think the time is now that we get serious about, getting into the future with a revamped website, especially when we look at what other towns have and the way they engage with their constituents. I think it's time that we kind of move forward on that. So I wanted to open up the discussion. And Nancy, obviously, I want to get your input as well, because I know you meet with us on the communication committee. But I want to kind of go around the horn and get a little bit of feedback as to what the other committee members would like to see as far as our web presence and our mobile presence.
All right, I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So does anybody want to jump in here?
No, I mean, I will, Scott, I mean, I do believe, I mean, I'm not, huge technology, but certainly I'd like to see a much more user-friendly website, a little bit more, it could aesthetically, it could probably be better laid out, and I think better, but more importantly, better access to information, maybe a little bit more intuitive, because I've had to search around for things. They're not necessarily where I expected them to be. So that would be one thing. The mobile part of it, I guess that's a new, well, it's not quite new. More and more people are accessing the website through their phone. And so, if we're going to the trouble to revamp the website, then that should probably be something as well that we certainly look into.
Matt, how do you feel about it?
I don't know enough about websites to say anything. But the one question I do have, what you brought up, is that I know sometimes you have a website on a PC and it doesn't translate correctly to a phone or something, or mobile. Is that an issue we have? Because obviously it's got to get corrected if it does.
Yeah, it's not really a technical. I'm sorry, it's not really a technical issue that I think we have to resolve. I think what we need to look at is, how do we communicate with our constituents? How do our constituents come to our presence on the web and find the information that they need to find, right? And, anecdotally, we get a lot of input from folks that, it's hard to find things nowadays. So it's not really a technology issue. And, quite frankly, I don't think it would be best served that, we, or even the communication committee, go out and build this thing. I mean, there's professionals that know how to do this, and they know how to do it for municipalities. But if there are things that you try to do with it that you're not satisfied with, that you think we can kind of make it easier to find information, or things like scheduling, things like, how do you find someone's phone number? How do you get electronic documents? How do you pay your taxes, right? These kind of things. We're all constituents too. We all use this. And I think, a lot of times we go to the site and we can't find what we want to find. Vic, how do you feel? You're on mute. Hey, Mick.
I'm here. I think the site needs work. I totally agree with you. I think it's time to update it. It needs improvements. It needs to be easier to navigate. I think it would be an investment, well worth it. I think it would, make interaction between the community and town hall, a lot easier just through that website alone, with, if it's improved.
Scott, one thing I do agree with. I agree that it's not a CAC issue to do. Maybe you guys help find like third-party vendors, but let a professional do it. I mean, not that people on there can't do it, but let a professional do it.
Yeah.
might facilitate finding or vetting a professional, but after that, turn it over the reins.
Right.
Yeah, and it's, so Scott, I would add to what Brendan said, or I would just agree with what Brendan said. I think the quality of the information and the amount of information on the Long Hill Township website is phenomenal. But it goes back to what Brendan intimated earlier. If you can't find it, is the information really there? And even on the committee, if we've got committee folks saying that they struggle to find information, so I applaud the what has happened over the years and the information and the timeliness of it. I think it's phenomenal. I think Nancy does a great job with the limited tool that she has to work with. And to Matt's point, let's figure out how we can assist, or CAC can assist the town, and then the town proceed with going forward. I think you've got unanimity on this one.
Yeah, Nancy, maybe you can also offer some perspective, because I know that website is often the front end to the work that you do, right? And how is it in terms of updating it and staying timely in terms of communication going out?
Well, the way we currently have it is we contract with a webmaster, and whenever we want anything to go on, we have to email them and tell them exactly what we want, title and content, whatever, and what page we want it on. To their credit, they're fairly timely in responding. But I'm thinking it might be easier if we are able to directly put our own stuff on. So, for example, a common thing that happens, recycling is delayed today, or garbage isn't being picked up. I can just go on there and easily put it on myself with no delay. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking from our point of view, that we should be able to put our stuff on instead of going through somebody. Another thing, and I think the deputy mayor mentioned it, is the ease of finding information. I know I've had to go on our own website for things and can't find it. So on most websites, you see a little box and it says I want to, and it's a pull down menu, and it gives you a bunch of things to pick from. That's one of the things for sure. I've been trying since last year. I guess COVID kind of spread up the need for it, trying to get all of our documents available online, like forms, all of our forms. And Megan and I have been working on that through SDL and a bunch of different ways. But I think that's what somebody said it here tonight. That's what people want. They want, instant access to everything. So I'd like to try to comply with that as much as possible. And it also is more efficient for employees that, they can just point to the website rather than, email somebody a document or whatever.
Yeah, and most people work off their smartphones now, and we're just not enabled for that. And then,
No, and if I can, one of the, just before the shutdown last year, a couple members of the communications committee and myself met with, we reached out to a few vendors who do websites, and we met with one of the vendors for a presentation. And he actually, there was some discussion about whether or not to do an app for the phone. And I really don't think that that's necessary. I think most of the committee didn't think it was necessary either. But the one vendor we did meet showed us how it's a mobile friendly, he has a mobile friendly aspect to his, his website.
Right.
And I think that's what we need, because everybody's doing everything on their phone.
and how much do we spend right now per year on our website? Do you know?
I don't know offhand. I'll have to find out. I'll let you know.
And how much do we think it would cost? Do you have any idea what you think it would cost to have a vendor come in and do something fresh, or we need to go research that?
I have quotes from last year. So presumably they haven't gone up a lot. Even the one vendor who we did meet with, I know he was offering specials because of the shutdowns and virus. I don't know if they're still, available, but I can look those up and send them to you.
So just to kind of wrap this up for everybody, this is something that's on the CAC's radar. And, I want to talk just for another minute on how we might get this to be a reality and to get this done this year. Because, personally, I do think that it's a burning need to update this. But I don't think it's something that we want to take the next 3 years doing. So my recommendation would be that we challenge the CAC to write up a specification that we can take back to Nancy and put out a request for bid. And, get some real proposals back, hopefully with some samples that demonstrate where we can take this. But I am not in favor of a science experiment that goes on for 2 years and nothing happening, because I think it's really time that we get into the 21st century.
I agree. And as I was thinking, could we add the capability to make payments, such as for firearms permits or firearms ID cards, where the entire process is based off the web? They can't make a payment for it. They have to go to the police station to pay the $6.
That's the kind of input that I think we want to send to the CAC, so that we can, quickly do some research on that and maybe write that into a request.
One good example of that is what the clerk's office did for parking permits this year. We mostly because of COVID, but we dog licenses and parking permits are able to be paid for online. So, that's the kind of thing I think we're shooting for.
Was there a fee attached to the payment online?
Ben, can you talk about that?
Yes, it's $3 per dog license, and for the parking permits as well. That's because the system that we use only contracts out with a certain credit card company, so there was no way around it. But if you did use an online check, it was only $1.50.
Gotcha.
But we can look into things like Venmo
There
and
you
PayPal
go.
and other things. So,
Absolutely.
this is all good input. So, if the committee here consents, I'd like to take this back to the CAC. They meet tomorrow. And I would like to challenge them to put together a spec, but I'd also ask that we start funneling information to them on some of the features that we'd like to see.
How would you like that information to be funneled? Should we go through you, through Nancy? What's the best way?
I think through Nancy, right?
Sure.
Okay. Matt, I know you already said great idea, Vic, Brendan. I don't want to make you have to repeat it. I think it's a great idea, Scott. And since you're leading the charge on it, even better.
Yeah, I would like to, put this stake in the ground. We'll start it now. We want it to be online before the end of 2021.
That you just reminded me, and the glint in your eye was almost Kennedy-like.
I did.
I want to put a man to the moon.
I'm going to put a man on the moon
by the end of this decade.
By December 1st.
Well, I was just, I think we do things not because they're easy, but because they are hard.
Yes.
So well done, Scott. So we leave it with you to bring it back, but Nancy, of course, you will coordinate any comments that come from the committee.
Yeah.
And perhaps I would make one comment even now. It would be nice if the public could somehow volunteer what the challenges that Brendan has or I have. Maybe we don't know what all the things are that what make it a more user-friendly site.
Well, and with public comment coming up, I see a number of folks on the phone. It would be great to hear some comments from folks.
Okay.
But we see them anecdotally on Facebook and other social media and stuff like that. So, we're not oblivious to it, but it would be great to hear what people have to say.
Well, if I can suggest, if the communication tool that we have on our current website, down at the bottom, the little, I forget what it's called, at the bottom right. Megan, do you know what it's called?
A button to submit, not a concern, but
Submit a question.
Well, hence why we need to update this website.
Yeah, I can't remember, but anyway, in the bottom right of our website, there's a little button to report an issue or ask a question or something like that. So if people would, if word gets out, and hopefully it will, and I see that
I see the word a pothole.
Yeah,
well, there's also,
I was just, Scott, I was about to say, I think it's called 1-800-POTHOLE.
no, there's another one. No,
Just pay your taxes, never miss another waste collection day.
There is another button, but I believe it's under administration or,
Well, people can email me if they want.
But the great thing is, Scott, you just walked us into a real live example of what would be nice to have on the website. So Nancy doesn't have to go fishing around her emails. She can have it almost, in a file. These are the concerns and the complaints.
Here it is. It's general inquiries. It's under contact.
Okay, there you go. Under contact. Maybe I can move that to the front page for now.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Hey, Scott, thank you for bringing that up. So next is, it's listed on the township.
Sorry, Mayor, could I just under that, this should be a quick one. We should put cameras at DPW. I mean, we've talked about it before. I don't know what's happened, but we should probably have cameras there. We have them everywhere else.
I don't object, but was there an incident that led you to bring this up?
No. I mean, I just remembered that we talked about it, and incidents happen intermittently, so it was on my mind just to mention.
And it's become so cheap to do, right?
There was an incident actually recently, ironically, just last week. There was an illegal dumping incident that was very expensive would be very expensive to dispose of. So the DPW director actually called the police, and the detectives are investigating it.
Well, there's a great example.
Right. So we've been talking about it for a long time. And now, if you recall, we have an electric fence. When we sold the sewer plant, we had to get an electric gate so that New Jersey American Water could access their property as well. So now that we have electric out there, it's the perfect opportunity to put a camera as well.
I mean, do you need funding for this, or can you find it in?
I can find it in the budget.
All right, perfect. So we'll leave that also with you, Nancy. Hopefully, did you run out of ink on your pen writing down all the things we've
I'm good.
bestowed to you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Right, I'm going to handle the next one because that's it's the type of mayor I am. With the mayoral authority given to me, the Environmental Commission, I don't believe, Megan, this is a TC approval. This is mayoral. So I appoint Joyce Koenig to a 2-year term on the Environmental Commission, although that term does in fact expire December 31st, 2022. And I want to thank Joyce for volunteering. And I'm sure you will be a valuable member of the EC. All right, so we don't have to do the motion there. Just a couple of announcements. One, the Elks Townwide Garage Sale is taking place this Saturday, May 1st, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. I want to thank Kelly Mazaki, and hopefully I didn't butcher your name too badly. Matt, do you know how to say her name? Is it Mazzacchi?
No, Mazzocchi. You are the worst at pronouncing Italian names. They should make you the Scott. It's Mazzocchi. That's correct.
I said Mazzocchi. Hold on a second.
You did the first time. You said it correct the first time. Then you backtracked.
Oh, I was just I don't like mispronouncing people's names.
It's Mazzocchi. She's very helpful.
All right. You want to continue the announcement, or can I?
I don't know what you're announcing. So,
all right.
If we want it done properly, maybe Matt, would you do it?
What's that?
If we want it done properly, maybe Matt should do it.
Yeah, well.
And I even wrote it down. Look, the Elks, as we know, they benefit so many charities, veterans and special needs children being at the top of the list. So just the Elks in town do so much. And so big shout out to you. Anybody who can attend on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., please, right here at the Elks Lodge. Library Shredding Day is the following week, May 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. All proceeds benefit the library. And huge shout out to the library. They've been open most of this time throughout, if not all of it. I think early on they had to close by state executive order. But the first chance they had to open up, they have opened up to the public. So a real thanks to them for what they have done. The last announcement, and I want to thank former committeeman Guy Rochelle, he pointed this out to me. So let's work backwards. May 1st, that's this Saturday. And I'll read because he did a better job of explaining it than I did. So Morris County Pathways of History is sponsoring a countywide tour this weekend. Long Hill is participating with several talks at Turtle Rock Park between 12 noon and 4 p.m. The park is located next to the Sterling train station or just north of the Sterling Hotel. The Historical Society will be hosting a short talk at the top of each hour, starting at 12. So there's 5 talks. The talks will highlight prominent businessman Herbert Gray Torrey, who designed the train depot, which is no longer there at the site, and the park that is still there, resplendent with botanical plantings and a fountain. Unrelated but nearby were the Cooper burial grounds. Matt, you probably know more about that than me. They included the grave of Revolutionary War Captain Peter Layton, Mr. Torrey's park, and Captain Layton's ancient tombstone, which are there now, reveal a rich and unexpected history in women's rights, the creation of a new Sterling village, and the beginnings of environmental awareness. I will point out, and I went on it today, the Long Hill, and this is the website, longhillhistory, one word, .org. It's phenomenal. It's full of so much interesting information about Long Hill Township. So I encourage everybody to go on there, longhillhistory.org. And with that, I'd like to, this is item number 12. I'd like to open up the meeting to the public. Remarks and statements pertaining to any matter.
Oh, wait, I
I
have
see
another
Matt-
announcement.
Oh, I apologize.
I don't mean to
should've-
steal Scott's thunder because he might have forgot too. The Boy Scout flower sale is on Valley Road, right next to where Joseph A. Bank was. You drive down Valley, you can't miss it. Scott, what's it start Friday evening and goes through Sunday early afternoon?
Yep, Friday, just 4 o'clock or so. It's going to go all night and into the next day. And so this is Boy Scout Troop 56's big fundraiser of the year. They use the funds to pay for their group camping in the summer.
And along those lines, it ties into both those announcements. Tommy Osmond started his Eagle Scout project today, and I believe he was planting like 5 or 6 trees at Turtle Rock Park today. He didn't even know there was a thing going on Sunday, so I'm pretty sure he got them all in. So there'll be some new trees there for everybody to see. And the last thing I forgot to mention during the liaison reports is please stop calling the DPW if your garbage and recycling did not get picked up. It's not the town's responsibility. Al Gallo works until 3 or 4 o'clock, but he was taking phone calls till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. If the recycling doesn't come, look up the Morris County recycling from the county and call them. I'll give Nancy a second, or call Grand Garbage Sanitation yourself. I know the owner is active on Facebook, so if you send him a message, he gets back to you. And they're pretty responsive. So please call them. And again, people, it's garbage and recycling. If it was valuable, it wouldn't be on the curb. So it'll get picked up. Don't sweat it. Thank you.
Mayor, can I add to that?
Of course.
Regarding the recycling, I forgot to put this in my report. Al and I did reach out to the Morris County MUA because there have been a lot of inconsistencies with the recycling pickup, missed streets and missed pickups and only half pickups and things like that. So I brought it to the attention of the head of the MUA today, and she agrees it is completely unacceptable. So next Monday, they'll be in town with supervisors following around the routes, making sure that things get done right. So the good news is that they want to make it right. They want to make sure that, that it's done the way it's supposed to be done. And, anything less is unacceptable. So they're working on it. So if people could just be patient, I know it's been 4 months, but, they're still working out the kinks, and we're going to stay on top of it.
So Nancy, I appreciate you adding that to your very long list. So thank you. And coincidentally, Matt, I was driving down Main Avenue on the way to this meeting, and I saw, and I'm going to take a shot at you because you took a shot at me. Mr. Osmond, he's a young man now, and I asked him this because that's the kind of guy I am. I said, do you prefer Tom or Tommy? And he instantly said Tom. It is Tom Osmond.
Well, when
So-
he corrects me, I'll stand down.
So Tom Osmond, and I must
That's
say,
Scott.
to your point, thank you for reminding me of this. The trees that he's planting, they had, I mean, these are real little
yeah.
trees now. I mean, these are 3-4 feet tall. There was a pin oak, a weeping willow, and red bud, 2 red buds, I think, or two of whatever. You know, this young man is doing a phenomenal job, and I know, Scott, you're very much involved with the Boy Scouts and Troop 56. You know, so on behalf of the committee, I want to tell you what a great job that troop is doing. And I would say, Mr. Veleza, you have very generously donated to help this project move forward. I think the other folks on the township committee, perhaps not. So I'm going to make sure I get my check in tomorrow. Jack, I don't know if I overstepped my authority there by strong arming the rest of the committee. But I just figured I'd point that out, that Tom Osmond is doing a phenomenal job. So thank you.
Along those lines, you want to just tell about JCP&L from last week with the trees?
Well, you were there as well.
Oh.
You want to mention it?
Yeah, but somehow after you showed up, I got cut out all the pictures. So, oh, just thanks to Carol Bianchi, our JCP&L rep, and JCP&L, they generously donated, I don't know how many trees, but they planted a bunch of maples, it was a dogwood, sorry, along the top of the retaining wall at Cantor Park. They're very small now, but when they mature, they're going to flower every spring. They'll be pink or white, I believe. And they also donated other trees that we didn't plant that day to the DPW, so Al can plant them around town. I think Tommy Osmond might even got some of them too. I'm not sure, or Tom Osmond, sorry. So thank you,
And Kelly
Carol,
Mazzocchi. We could go back and forth.
that's
on that.
right. I'll work on the Italian names. You do the Anglo-Saxon names. So, so Carol, if you're listening, thank you for thinking of us when you set up that project. And JCP had a very good turnout of people to come do all the work for us.
Yeah, and that's a great kickstart to what Vic, which you first brought to us, as we try to, well, not try, we will beautify Cantor. You know, it's a beautiful park. I can't tell you how many people from out of town, when the young kids come and play there, they all call and say what a wonderful park it is. But it's, you know, it's a little tired, right? I mean, it's been there for some time. So some of the plantings that died or dying, a lot of the trees have been removed along Valley Road. We're going to put that screen up. So I know you're going to work very closely with Al on this. And Nancy, on your list, I know you're working on getting an arborist to take a look, and so we do it right the first time. All right, so here we go. Now let's open up the meeting to the public. Remarks and statements pertaining to any matter. If you could try to limit your comments to 3 minutes out of respect for the other residents that may want to speak. So I guess Nancy, Megan, if you could turn over to the public. Oh, and I guess, Megan, I should ask you first. Did we receive any written comments?
We did not, Mayor.
Thank you, Megan. All right, so let's go. Let's go right to the public session.
There is a gentleman by CA. I'm going to allow him to speak. If you could state your name and your address for the record, please.
Charles Aronowitz, Heritage Road, Millington. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Probably a month and a half ago, we had a discussion in the open forum here about opening town hall. And I believe the commitment was made that we're going to go look at what Warren Township was doing, see how we could better accommodate the technology within our own town to both transmit and have public sessions. I know you're working on your capital budgets, and the tech advisory committee's been making improvements. We want to upgrade the website, but I think opening town hall takes priority over some of that. And I was just wondering, based on the visitation that was going to be made and commitment made to look at what Warren's doing, where we are, what we need to do it, how we're going to do it, and how we put money into the capital budget, the opening town hall.
So Chuck, thank you very much for bringing that up. And if I could, I know Nancy and Megan, you have been in touch with some of the folks over in Warren. I think they've run into some challenges. So if you could, Megan or Nancy, I don't care which one can speak to that.
Well, I can speak to Warren. They have had some problems for most of the meetings that they've done with Zoom. And Megan looked into it, and it is there's a cost for every meeting. So instead, what I have been looking into with a member of the communication committee is the ability through our new system of being able to do simultaneous Zoom as well as in person. And I think it might be a possibility. I don't think that there's a big cost to it, so it's not in the budget. I don't think it needs to be. We do have money if there is a cost to it. We do have some money towards that in our regular budget, but I don't see it being a big cost. And I'm a little more optimistic after talking with him that our new system might enable us to do it easier than we thought. So we're still working on it. It is like it, it's in the process.
So
But
what's the timing?
Sorry.
What is the timing to open up?
Oh, that's not my call.
Well, I guess, Chuck, I could speak to that. One thing I did commit to, and I did follow through on that. I'm supportive of opening up town hall as soon as is practicable, from a health perspective. I was surprised when I reached out to many of the mayors throughout Morris County. They are still doing it in a similar fashion to what we are doing. I did not find any that were just open. So I was a little disappointed because I was looking for some support to what my opinion was at the last meeting, and that is that we open up a little bit sooner.
Well, one town you might want to talk to is Randolph Township. They've never closed. Okay. And the ironic thing is,
which town?
Randolph Township. They prefer opening town hall because when they were doing Zoom meetings, they were getting too many comments from people. So they wanted to open up town hall. So you might want to talk to Randolph Township.
I will. Thank you for pointing that out. I'd be surprised because I don't think, based on the executive orders, they could have remained open in the beginning.
Well, check it out. They have.
I will.
Been open.
I will. I know several people on the committee up there. So thanks for bringing them up. And if you hear of any other towns, please, you have my number, or just text me or email me. I'd be happy to follow up with them.
So to do this, we don't need any more capital. You don't need to budget anything in your capital budget to open up town hall. Is that correct, Nancy?
I don't need anything from the capital budget now. And just to say, I don't think being able to simultaneously go on Zoom and be live in person is an obstacle, because I don't think that it's a necessity. That's the governing body's call, whether they want to still be on Zoom at the same time. We never offered Zoom before. So at a point where we're able to open to the public, then I don't know that we need Zoom. So that's your call, the committee, that's your call. It is something we're looking into in case you do want to do it. But just so that the state law is that if you, as a committee, have a quorum in town hall, you have to be open to the public.
So Nancy, maybe this question is for Jack. To speak to the hybrid, one attraction to that to me is, people on the committee, we're human, we go on vacation or business, travel business. Would we be able to, if there was a hybrid that was open to the public, could we adjust our ordinance to allow a committee member to attend the meeting by Zoom, even though the meeting is taking place in person?
Yeah, I think we could, because we currently allow, under certain circumstances, that it be done. And at Bruce Maringolo's suggestion, we expanded it just beyond telephone at the time. We weren't even anticipating Zoom.
Right.
So I think we could, under.
So a simple
circumstances.
tweak to what we already did regarding phone could be
Right.
Zoom.
Correct.
Okay.
Mayor, if
think
I
that-
could make a comment,
Yes,
As
yes,
an-
Megan.
I'm on the Randolph Township website right now, and I'm looking and I'm seeing all of their meetings are remote.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing as well, Megan.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, they're all remote. So I don't know who's been kidding you on, Chuck.
Yeah, well, I'm
Matt
telling
does.
you what the opinion was, that they prefer not to be on Zoom because they got too much participation. They'd rather keep open.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what I was told. I'll check it out. My friends
Yeah.
maybe gave me misinformation, but my understanding is they're open.
yeah, and plus, I think this is, who cares what the other towns are doing. I think there are a number of factors that we need to look into before we make any of those decisions, and not least of which is the technology, and that isn't quite there yet. And so, to hold these kind of hybrid meetings, but I think we're all in the same boat. We all want to get back to business as usual and as quickly as possible. But as I say, there are just a number of factors that we need to take into consideration, and what other towns around us are doing is not one of those factors as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I tell you, when I served on committees, everybody wanted to know what the local towns and the towns next to us were doing. That was my experience.
So, I'll ask a question. What are the hurdles that we have to pass to open up town hall and have the meetings there? What are the specific hurdles?
I think we have to think about the fact that we won't have town hall capacity, and that's what I'm saying is we have to have the ability to do it in a hybrid manner.
But
And right now,
what would be the capacity change? What's the capacity now, and then what is it under social distancing, Nancy?
Megan and I counted, it was a while ago, but I want to say 36. Megan, does that sound right? We could, with social distancing in the courtroom, we could have 36 people. And while that usually is not an issue for township committee meetings, it is an issue for the land use board meetings because they attract larger crowds, especially with, the more contentious developments that are going on.
And if we had any controversial issue, we'd face the same issue.
yeah, we have to have it in place we can't just say that, for the most part, a lot of people don't show up at township committee meetings. We've had the courtroom packed on many occasions.
We have, I guess, and you never know when one of those controversial issues is
Yeah.
going to come up.
That's right.
And one thing that some churches are doing is folks are registering for services the day before, so they understand what their capacity limits are going to look like. Is that something that's legal to do in this case where?
But we can't turn people away. We can't say the first 36 will be admitted.
But-
Any member of the public who wants to attend would have to have that opportunity.
But you could say that if you're over capacity, you're going to augment it with Zoom, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what
and-
does Warren Township do in limiting their capacity?
I don't know.
I honestly, I don't know the answer.
But the thing is that we don't have, we may very well in May have the ability to do it with technology, in which case that's a set of circumstances.
Actually, you know what? No, actually,
Right?
you know what, Brendan? I'm sorry for cutting you off, but to Chuck's point, there was an article in the Echo Sentinel last week that just struck me. I think there's a hotel or some development down in Warren, and the challenge they have with the planning board is, in fact, they did turn people away. So when husband, wife, that's what the article said, showed up, they were given a choice. Either the husband or the wife can go in, but not both. And that's interesting, Jack, in light of what you just said. I know
Yeah,
that's
they-
what happened. Well, that's what was.
That'd be ground for an appeal. It'd probably
Right.
be granted.
Yeah.
And to your point, I forget who was just talking about it, Brendan, or I apologize which one said it. We have some meetings that will be coming up that do have a lot of interest by the public. And we don't want to be put into the same position as what happened with Warren. And then you pass an application or you deny an application and you're open to appeal by either the applicant or a member of the public.
Objectors,
So
yes.
we just
that
walked
would-
ourselves into a challenge I did not anticipate. I thought you could limit based on capacity.
No.
I would have
You have
actually
to
said
move
that
to
if
a
you hadn't
larger
cut me off,
venue.
Guy.
Well, I knew you were going to say it, and I thought it was an intelligent thing to say, and I wanted to take credit for it.
You grabbed it. Yeah.
If you
Very
can't,
good.
if you can't,
Okay.
if you can't accommodate everyone who wants to attend a public meeting, you have to move to a larger venue.
I did, okay, Brendan, I apologize. Although, I challenged whether that in fact was what you were going to say.
Word for word.
So kidding aside, Chuck, I think it's important for all of us and any member of the public that's listening to dig up that article. It's in the Echoes. I think it was last week or the week before. And it struck me that what they were doing is like, Noah's Ark, one of each. You couldn't, or both. No, actually, that's wrong. They were able to take both male and female. In Warren, they were saying to
Top of your head, yeah.
they were only allowing one of the couple to come in, which angered them. And now, anger is one thing, but legal recourse is another.
It's 2021. It's not going to work.
I thank you, Jack, for bringing that up. It's even more valid. And Chuck, I have to tell you, I want to open up as soon as possible. I think we all want to open up as soon as possible, but we're not going to rush it. We're certainly not going to rush it where it affects or could affect the health of the public. And we're not going to rush it at the risk of violating any laws that are in place that we did not write. So, Chuck, hopefully we answered your question. It probably wasn't exactly what you wanted, but we're on top of it. And Megan, thank you for realizing. And by the way, Brendan, why didn't you aggressively go at Megan when she brought up what Randolph was doing? And why didn't you do the same with Megan?
No, because Megan got there before I did. I wasn't talking about it.
And if I may jump in, Mayor, you gave me permission to speak.
Oh, Megan, I'm not taking it's that no way a reflection upon you. I appreciate you giving us the facts. And I guess, Brendan, you do have a point. You weren't actually speaking when Megan spoke, whereas when I cut you off, you were. So I apologize, Deputy Mayor Ray. You need a hug?
A puppy will do.
All right. Megan, any other member of the public?
Dennis Sandow, I'm going to promote you. If you could state your name and your address for the record, please.
Dennis Sandow, State Route 4002, Hawley, Pennsylvania, where it is pouring rain.
Sorry.
Moving your way, I'm sure, I hope, before you have to go out in the parking lot and drive home.
I put the roof back up in the parking lot, but thank you for telling us or warning us or threatening us. I don't know which it was.
I actually have 3 items. Let me start with the cannabis. The planning board, as you are aware, confirmed that the ordinance you passed is not inconsistent with the master plan. However, you should be advised, and this goes to, this puts me in agreement with Matt, that the master plan says a great deal about recreation. And it seems to me that if we want to really encourage recreation over and above what little we've done in the past couple decades, cannabis is the way to do it. I don't see very many smiles, so I'll move on to the next item. There, Megan is smiling. She knows what cannabis is all about. The second item that I'd like to talk about is this website. First of all, I'd like to correct Scott. The website started in 2000, that's 21 years ago, and was the best in the state in 2001 and 2002. In 2003, it was moved to a vendor who had a more sophisticated approach to website design. And over the past 20 years, the website has actually been moved about 4 times. In every one of those moves, there was a great hue and cry that the current website wasn't doing the job and we had to find somebody better. And we went out with an RFP, and the only people who responded were the commercial website vendors who focus on municipalities. We have one of them right now who's doing our website and doing a fairly good job of it. The problem is not the technology or the responsiveness. The problem with websites is curating. Somebody who takes authority and responsibility for keeping the website up to date. And that is not a contractor, that is not a committee. That is someone in the town, either an employee or a volunteer, who cares to keep it up to date. Now, I'm going to read from the current website. This is a page called Driving Instructions. Driving instructions to reach the library from Route 287. Turn onto Long Hill Road. Go 1 mile to a stop sign. Turn right on Central Avenue. 2/10 of a mile on the left, opposite Central School. That's what our current website says about reaching the town library, which hasn't been opposite Central School since 2004.
Oh, plus Dennis, plus people use like Google Map directions now, right?
I'm not talking about alternatives to the website. I'm talking about the quality of the data that is allowed to remain on the website. It's curating. Of course, there are alternate ways of finding out how to get to the library. But if you go to the website, it would be nice to find a direction that counts, not one that is 17 years old. Now, I wrote those directions back in 2001 and put them on the website because that was important at the time. We didn't have Google 20 years ago. But nobody's ever, we've moved the website 4 times to different vendors, and nobody's ever actually read what it is that we are moving and taken out the old stuff. I could look at almost any page on that website and tell you why it is obsolete. The only page that's not obsolete is the page that describes the fire engines in Millington, because they haven't been replaced in over 20 years.
Brendan, how much did you pay Mr. Sandow to say that?
But there is a page that does talk about the fire engines in Millington, and I will tell you, regardless of who we hire as a next website vendor in the Great Rotation, they're not going to put up a picture of the new fire truck unless somebody writes it down and sends it to them and explains why we have a new fire truck with a longer ladder than the old one. It's curating is the word. And we're not going to, the Communications Advisory Committee is not going to be able to write a spec until and unless the town understands the role of the curator and defines who that's going to be. Then you can write a technical spec for the technology of the website around the manner in which it will be handled internally.
Yeah, Dennis, I just want to insert a comment. And we're in full agreement with you. And I think if you go back to the comment that I made earlier, it's not a technical problem that we're trying to solve. It's an information access problem. And you are absolutely right. The curation is at the top of the list with that. So thank you for that.
Look at the directory page
Yep.
of the key town employees. You can easily find a half dozen mistakes on that page at any time. And that's the page that people use to get in touch with us. Okay, enough on the website. Let's stop pretending that it's a technology problem. And if you're going to rely on Google Maps, fine. Tell people to go to Google Maps. Insert a link to Google Maps, but don't allow directions that are 17 years old to stay on the website.
I think that was meant for the historical committee.
The last item I have is going to require a collective decision from you. And that is the governor pronounced on Monday.
Yeah.
Let me pick it up here. Outdoor carnivals and fairs are permitted to operate at 50% capacity. Well, I think the capacity of Main Avenue is somewhere around 20 or 30,000 people packed shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to compute 50% of that and say, let's hold a street fair. The date we have reserved is May 30th. That's the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. We've got to make the decision this week because police scheduling is the key item. Getting publicity out is the second key item. Are we prepared to go to a street fair in 4 weeks?
So Dennis, my concern to that, and you're the one that helped me understand this. If vendors don't show up at a street fair, is it really a street fair? Do you think vendors would sign up on such short notice?
Vendors have been clamoring all last summer and into this spring, waiting for an opportunity to make a buck. The time is right for somebody to start the ball rolling. There have been no street fairs in April. Everyone was canceled. We canceled on April 11th, which was the Sunday after Easter, and we got May 30th as our next choice. And in fact, this committee and the county commissioners have already approved that date, and we've got authority for that date. The question is, are we going to cancel that and drop back to the alternate date in September, or are we actually going to go get people out on the street? As I mentioned, this is the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. We'll back that up on Monday with a parade.
My concern is, and I know everybody on this call probably read that executive order, and to me, it was a little bit opaque. I don't know, and you're right, the wording that you just gave is accurate, but sometimes what's the intent as opposed to the meaning? You're right. So, I mean, Main Street can hold whatever you said, say 20,000 people, and that's certainly not the intent.
But wasn't the announcement today that as of May 10th, public gatherings increased to 500?
Well, in the Monday newspaper, it said, should our public health metrics continue to trend as they have been, we would hope to increase this limit yet again before Memorial Day, Murphy said.
That's right.
Okay, but currently right now it's limited at 500 until he makes that call, right?
Except 50% of capacity or weddings.
50% of capacity of what? An indoor meeting?
Of the 6 blocks of the street. You could do the calculations.
Yeah, and Dennis, that's the challenge, I think, because I don't think the way it was worded is the intent. And I know what it
it's
says.
Unlimited for weddings, and if you know any young couple that's willing to have a 7-hour wedding, I would be glad to host them and invite the whole town.
I knew you were going to say that.
It doesn't have to be a young couple.
Yeah,
So
indoor is 50%. That's the news that I just got.
I mean, we can go back and forth about, this part of it, but maybe there's another issue, which is that day the best day to have a street fair on Memorial Day weekend?
Well, you see, quite frankly, our promoter is juggling right now. All towns are trying to figure out what to do next. And when we canceled April 11th, she had Memorial Day Sunday available, so I grabbed it. Other towns will be grabbing other dates and canceling or locking in. I do not envy the promoter for the job she has to do. And on the other hand, of course, she's trying to keep vendors on the hook and lined up and ready to plunk down their deposits to come to these street fairs. As I said earlier, somebody's got to take the lead. Drive a stake in the ground. Thank you, Scott. Drive a stake in the ground and say, we are going to go on May 30th. Come on, vendors, sign up. Police, sign up. Poster printers, sign up. We're going to do it. if it is the committee's will that we need the street fair in order to unite the community.
But couldn't we do that with the Memorial Day parade, Dennis, and maybe do the event you're talking about, like Labor Day or something like that?
Well, I don't know. You're going to put the high school band in a truck and drive them up the street, or are you going to let them march?
You know, I'm sensing that not everybody's in agreement, but I think it's a great idea. I think that we should have the street fair. It'll give people in town something to do on that weekend, as long as there's no, genuine health risks or legal risks. I think it's a great idea. We have a Sunday street fair and a Monday parade. Two things to do 2 days in a row in Long Hill Township for our community.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you, Vic.
Yeah, keep in mind at this point, the Memorial Day parade is a car parade or whatever it's called. We're not marching on Memorial Day as yet. May 10th, we may get.
No, that could change.
That could change,
Yes.
but we won't know that until May 10th, right?
Correct.
I don't know, Jack, how does this work? I don't know if we're in a position to make a decision like that right now. And Dennis, I think you're saying you need a decision right now.
Well, I need a decision right now because police scheduling is at issue. If we're going to hang a banner across the main or across Valley Road, we've got to do that 2 weeks beforehand, and that's only 2 weeks from now. And we got to get a date printed on the banner and get it up in the air in 2 weeks from now. So we don't have. We're at the limit right now of making a decision.
I mean, Vic was for it. I just don't think it's a good day to have a street fair, and so and then all the other machinations that we're going through about interpretation of executive orders and all the rest of it. I would be against having it. So right now you're on a one on one side, one on the other.
Matt?
I'm in no rush to have the street fair. Honestly, I don't care one way or another, but look, at that point, it's about 2.5, 3 weeks of school left. Then we got the kids back in school finally 5 days a week. Let's not take any chances. And hey, if things open up in the summer, I have no problem running it in Labor Day or some in the fall. That's fine with me. There's no rush to get ahead.
Or even during the summer, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
There are no street fairs in August. It's too hot.
No.
But, we've got an alternative date in September, right?
Excuse me?
We have an alternative date in September.
Well, we have an alternate date on Labor Day weekend, yes. But there, comes the end of July, somebody's going to come up with another excuse for not having it. That's my problem, is that making excuses can go on forever.
Dennis, these aren't excuses. These are not excuses that we're making because we're against having it. We'd love to have it. Those were great community events, but we have some serious considerations here, and so characterizing them as excuses is really not fair.
Yeah. So Scott,
I'm sorry, Brendan, that you're offended by my choice of words, but the fact of the matter is we could go either way. We could make excuses for having it and dare the governor to send the state police in to break it up if we feel that it's a good community event.
Yeah.
But if excuses bothers you, then give me a different word.
So
I'm bringing this up because I genuinely don't want to go any further without the consent of the board, even though you did issue a permit to me 2 months ago.
Yeah, the only thing is, I think we'll have better clarity on May 10th, and unfortunately, I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know what's going to happen come that date. I just don't feel comfortable leading the charge on this without having that clarity, which will be provided on May 10th, perhaps. So Scott, I think I'm putting it on you now. I think Vic's a yes, Brendan's a no, I'm a no. Matt is a little bit agnostic, but I think he's leaning no. And so Scott,
Now,
Matt's a no.
I'm all alone here.
I'm in
No,
favor.
you're not alone, Victor. We'll hold a little hot dog ceremony on your front lawn.
Done.
but Scott, you should speak to this.
And all the politicians who are up for re-election will come to your front lawn and enjoy free hot dogs.
Free. Did I hear free?
Free.
Scott,
Let's do it on Labor Day. Let's focus, May. Let's figure out a way to have a parade. Let's have a real parade. Let's have a marching band. Let's focus on
I'm
Labor.
going to ask you to withdraw that statement because I'm going to ask you to give me the freedom to negotiate.
Freedom to negotiate what?
well, he has. it. You
Whatever
have a
the,
permit.
whatever the best date is that fits the governor's schedule.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're objecting to that.
What's wrong with that?
Right. I mean, if May 10th comes out and there's further clarification and a June date's available, I don't think we would object.
Well, I would hope you wouldn't object, but I don't want to be pinned down with Labor Day.
Okay, all right. I take it back. Negotiate a day. I'm good with that.
And you know what? Why don't we put on as a discussion item for the first meeting in May, this, because we will, well, yeah, it would be the first meeting in May, will it not? Because May 10th, I think we'll know on May 10th.
Your first meeting in May is the 12th.
Okay, there you go. It's gonna be, fits like a glove. Was that item number 3, Dennis? Did you run out of items?
One was cannabis, 2 was website, 3 was, yeah, I guess I've run out of items. Unless you want to talk about budget.
Well, we can't. That's next meeting as well, May 12th.
Oh, I look forward to it.
There you go. Maybe you will swim back from.
I'm sorry for taking so much of your time tonight. I see that I have actually exceeded Mr. Rentowitz in using up 3 minutes.
It's been invigorating.
It's been invigorating for most of us. For Brendan, it made him sad, and now he needs another puppy.
Okay, I'm done. Thanks.
All right, Megan. Any other members of the public?
It looks like CA would like to speak again.
I think we'll approve that.
Yeah, I just want to correct Mr. Sandow. He's always exceeded my time, okay? Let me correct the notes of this meeting, okay? Thank you.
All right, Chuck. Any other members of the public? Seeing none, I think I'll look for a motion to go into exec with no further action. Does that sound right?
Yep, so moved.
second.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Where's the link?
Use
It may-
the same one. from
Megan, it's the same
Oh.
one you gave us, right?
Correct.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Momentarily.